If you are interested in the inner workings of the trade show booth industry, if you are curious about fun stories behind the world of product placement, if you want to learn some insights about imposter syndrome and the struggle of finding your place in an ever-evolving industry, and have some fun along the way, this conversation is for you. Welcome to another business podcast. I'm your host, Jeremiah. I'm joined by my new co-host, John Maxwell. You may remember him from our last episode, where he was sitting in the guest seat, but now he is sitting right beside me. Hello, John.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Great to be here.
John, tell me a little bit. Remind the audience who you are in case they forgot.
Well, in case I forget, right? I've been doing sales training and leadership training for 25 years, and I've had a chance to work with a whole bunch of really cool people, and this is why I'm excited about this podcast, because we're going to talk about business owners and leaders and their journey. So I'm very excited.
How many hours of conversations do you think you and I have had about business at this point?
Oh, good heavens. We've had hundreds of hours of conversations, right?
Most of them are recorded.
Yes, interestingly they are, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But our guest today is a mutual friend of both of ours, and John's first request for a guest, Dave Hansfield. Hello. Do you prefer Dave or David?
Either way, David is fine.
Okay, David. Yeah. Nice. My middle name is David. So,
nice.
So we have
Good
that.
name.
We have that going for us.
Awesome.
David, give us just a little spiel about who you are and what you do.
My name is David Hansfield. I'm the sales director at Structure Exhibits. What I do is I help people bring their brands to life on the trade show floor. I've been working with marketers for 20 plus years. I've done it to help them bring their brand to life through electronic media, through promotions. And now it's really cool because the last few years I've been in trade shows and we actually build stuff. So before you couldn't touch it and feel it.
Yeah.
Now we build stuff and you can actually touch it and feel it and sit in it and walk under it and go to it. And it's really, really neat. It's very rewarding. And I just love to do it.
It's funny, the way you describe that, I really resonate with that as somebody that is constantly just creating digital content. Like I was a musician first and created songs, and then it was, music videos and videos for other people and podcasts. And it's like, it's great. I love it. But there is something to be said for like putting your hands to something and looking back and seeing the thing that your brain created, the ideas that went behind it, and now there's like a physical product that you can see. That's cool.
The first time I created, or I didn't personally create it. We had very talented carpenters create it. But the first time I was involved in a project that you could feel and touch, I went out into the shop and everybody was gone, and I pulled up a chair and I just kind of sat in it. Yeah. And it was all built up and I just kind of sat in it and I looked at it and I walked around it and I was just in awe that this was there. And not a big deal. I mean, these carpenters knocked it out, and nothing to them, right?
Sure.
And nothing to the people who have done it before. But for me, it was like, wow, we just took this idea and birthed it, and here it is, and now it's standing in front of me. And now we're going to take it down again, and we're going to ship it to a convention center, and we're going to build it back up again, and thousands of people are going to come and see it and experience it. And I just thought that was the neatest thing. And that still grabs me to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't spent a lot of time at trade shows yet. I mean, maybe you'll have to change that. Not yet.
You will.
That sounds like fun. What drew you to the world of trade shows as kind of the next arc of your marketing journey?
Well, just happenstance, right? I needed a job, and I knew somebody who knew somebody, and that guy.
Ain't that just the way it goes? This guy.
That guy.
There was a connection.
And we made the introduction, and I really just dug what they were doing, and I could see myself succeeding in that with that company and in that job and in this industry. And it wasn't too far off from what I had been doing before. Again, it was electronic. It was just air and digital stuff. It wasn't actually building anything. So this was a great opportunity for me to me, it was like, okay, let's kick this up a notch.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next level.
Yeah.
And get this going and build these things. And I mean, it's extremely rewarding. It's also extremely stressful and nerve-wracking, and there's a lot of people involved. I mean, it's got everything, but I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie like that. I don't want to just be kind of bored every day.
Yeah.
Let life pass by. I want to be challenged, and it's a challenge.
Yeah.
It's a great challenge.
So you have sold so many things in your career, and you've sold media, right?
Right.
Media, television commercials.
Yep.
Fascinating stuff. When you began selling trade show booths, how was that selling that different than the things that you've sold before?
Well, I mean, it's very similar in many ways because we're looking for exposure and activation, right? We want that same exposure that a commercial or a promotion will give you, and we want activation. We want people to actually act upon it, right? We want people to do something. In the case of the trade show, you want to go there and buy a product, learn about a product, get to know the sales force. If you think about it, pretty much everything in these rooms, these mics, these cups, those cameras, they all started on a trade show floor. They were all introduced on a trade show floor.
Yeah.
Right? And so even the pallets that are hanging up behind me,
Yeah.
the foam, everything, the furniture, everything starts on a trade show floor. So just like a commercial, they're looking for that wow factor, that pop, right? I want to be noticed. I want you to find out about my product, and I want you to buy it.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing. It's just not, with a commercial, you got to see it a half dozen times to act on it or to think about acting on it. The trade show, it's more immediate.
Yeah.
There's the booth, there's the brand, there's the salesperson, and let's get you in and get you sold.
This is a similar question, so your answer might be the same, and if so, that's fine. But in my experience in strictly the digital marketing space, there's methodologies in how to create something effective.
Right.
There's how are you grabbing people at the front of the video or the piece of content, and different things like that. How are you bringing the messaging through in a concise way? What are some of the ideas and strategies that go into the thinking around designing a trade show?
Yeah, it varies. For me, it starts with emotion. You have to show that you care. So if you wander around a trade show, you'll see lots of different types of booth. You'll see some very flashy ones. You'll see video. You'll see lights. You'll see lots of graphics and all this. And then you'll kind of see the ones where the people are just kind of there. I got to be here.
Yeah.
My customers are there. My competition's here. They don't put a lot of thought in their booth. And as such, I've always noticed that those booths are usually the dead ones. People are just there to pass the time around away. They're not really there to accomplish much of anything for what it looks to me.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have a plan, but to me, it doesn't just looks like they're taking up space. So for me, you have to care from that point of view. Then you add in, okay, I'm going to care about this. I'm going to create a realistic budget. And here are the elements. Here's how I'm going to grab people.
Yeah.
We have awesome video. I need a video tower. I need an LED screen. I was working with a brand, and they're like, we're all about fun. So we want our booth to be fun. We want it to reflect fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not going to be kids around. There's just all adults, right? They're going to be selling business to business.
Yeah.
But their brand is fun. So that's what they want to express. So in our design, that's the first thing we keep in mind. Keep it fun, right?
Yeah.
And we put in fun things like a Plinko board right on the side that people can win prizes. They can their product is puck shaped, so they can use these products and win a Plinko board like on Price is Right.
Yeah.
So we incorporate those things, fun colors, kind of a whimsical look, along with like a conference room, because this is serious business and they need a place to deal with their customers, and they need seating to deal with their customers, and they need a coffee stand and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, and they want to, and they're going to be in between. They're a smaller booth, but they're going to be in between two mega booths. So they need to get noticed. So they need we're building a huge hanging sign for them.
Okay.
And it's not just a typical one. It's not just the same one. We've positioned it in a way and built it and designed it in a way that it will be seen all throughout the show floor, even with the two big booths next door to it.
That's fascinating.
So
my assumption is, obviously that their budget has to factor into that decision, right? But I feel like it would be a misconception, or at least incomplete, to assume that the only difference between the successful ones, quote unquote, that get a lot of traction, and the people that feels like they set up a table. I feel like there would be a misconception that it's just budget is the only difference maker. Is that fair to say? And
budget plays a large role in it, but I think also preparation and past experience as well. Sometimes people don't give shows a chance.
Yeah.
They go once, they say, I really didn't do much, and then they leave. But what they don't, in my experience, what people seem to miss is that they have to become part of a community to really and engage the community before people start to notice them and come around to them. That doesn't mean that they're not wrong if they were at a show and it didn't do well for them. Maybe that's not the right show for them.
Yeah.
That's true to a point, but in my experience, if you're going to join some of these associations and go to their shows, you usually have to be ingratiated into the community first, and then you start to get to know people, and they get to know you, and you get to know the customers and all the rhythm of it.
It's got to be like a long game.
By the second or third trade show, you're getting more and more notice and customers and all that.
Got it.
So I'm very curious about, and this may not be true in every booth, but in a more substantial booth that you've designed, tell me about the thought that goes into the experience of the attendee when they engage with the booth. Is there some kind of flow that goes on there? Tell me about that.
Yeah, that's the first thing the second thing I ask an exhibitor is that first I want to know, before they even tell me about their booth, I want them to tell me what their feeling is when they're standing in front of their booth. Close your eyes and tell me what you feel. Pretend you're looking at the booth and tell me what you feel and how do you feel. That's the first question. The second question is, now you're the customer. What do you want the customer to see? What do you want them to feel? They're walking up the aisle and they see your booth. How do you want them to feel? And so that's kind of what we start with. And then it's like, okay, do you want... I like very open booths because I like people to flow on all sides. Not everybody likes that. Some people like to put up a big wall and have people funnel in the front only. It depends on how and what you're selling. Are you direct selling at the booth? Is this just branding? Are you just picking up business cards you're going to sell later? It depends on what exactly the point is. And so you have to take all that into consideration, and then you kind of design the booth from there with flow in mind and the feeling and emotion of what you want the customer to experience when they come visit your booth.
This may be too logistical a question, and maybe we're getting into the weeds, but I'm fascinated by this idea. How do you actually design it? Like, do you work with architectures? Is there 3D rendering softwares?
Yeah,
how does that work?
All that. Yeah, we work with special designers who are very well versed in trade shows.
Yeah.
Maybe they've been architectural designers in the past.
Yeah.
I'm not sure all the qualifications, but they're really good at their job. And at Structure, we have just an awesome designer, and he's just really good about not doing the same thing over and over again, really listening to the client, understanding their needs, and then designing from that. And then, of course, we want feedback, so we will do some renderings, and then we'll show it to the client. We'll get feedback, and then we'll go from there. But he's really, really good about taking that what that client wants the experience to be and putting it into a 3D rendering so we can see it.
That's really cool.
Now, the trick is then taking that 3D rendering and making sure that it looks exactly the same
yeah.
on the show floor. And we do that too, and that's really cool. And that's like the Pièce de la résistance.
Have
This
there?
is when it's just all comes together.
You've worked in the trade show industry at a couple different companies. Like
Yep.
in your career, have there been times where it went together and you're like, oh man, that's not quite what we want. We have to pivot and adjust. Like, how did that?
There's been, minor things, nothing major, but like, I could see, and I tell the clients that too. I said, the first time you go out with this booth, we're probably going to look at it and go, yeah, we might have, let's move that here. Let's do that here. Because it's a learning experience.
Yeah.
So I have a client right now. We did their booth last year for the first time. We put it up. And on the rendering, the sign is, we have an arch. And on the rendering, the sign is below the arch. And it looks fine. Looks like you'll see it. But in reality, you didn't show up as well as we wanted it to. So now we're keeping the booth and everything the same, but we're just flipping the sign up. We're going to put it up above.
Yeah.
And that's going to look better, and it's going to get more notice. We're going to light it from both sides so that they spot lit as well.
Yeah.
It's going to look awesome. It's a great looking booth.
That's cool.
So it just needed that tweak though, and that you couldn't really tell until you actually got there and saw it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Tell me, in all the booths that you've worked with, companies you've worked with, you've probably had something that was clever. You've probably had something that was more creative. You probably had something that was a design or an implementation that was something you were pretty proud of. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. We've done so many cool things, and there's been great LED lights and video, LED screens and video and all this, but it's kind of a small thing. So the thing I love when I think about all these booths, and the thing I love the most is that we have this client that makes the pull-off tops on your bottles. That they're like cough syrup. I think I have one, and you pull it up. It's a tab and pull.
Yeah.
Right? And so they wanted their hanging sign to be that tab and pull.
That's cool.
And we nailed it.
Yeah.
We designed it, and we put it up there, and it looked awesome.
Yeah.
And again, that's not, we built these big booths, and we had all these LED things, and it was very cool. But to me, seeing that sign was like, and seeing how happy the client was that their brand was reflected, hanging up, 15 feet above them, I was so proud. I was on cloud nine.
Yeah.
It was like one of the coolest experiences, in a very small moment, but a very big feeling from that.
Well, and honestly, what's cool about that is describing what they actually do sounds pretty boring, right? Like we make this little product, but like you found a way to take that thing that maybe the average person would be like, oh, sure. And you made it really engaging and interesting and fun.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was a talking piece. Like people could see it down the hall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. So I was really proud of that.
So when you put together this great booth, this vision with the client, and then you get it implemented, it's all installed on the show floor.
Yep.
Do you do any work with the client to get their staff to engage with it? Do you help them with the human element on the floor? What does that conversation sound like?
So I mainly work with a marketing director, a trade show director, and they're kind of rallying the troops around the booth. But I show up every morning to make sure everything is set for the booth. And I do try to engage the salespeople and the people who are working the booth, see if they have any concerns or needs, because it is a group effort, right? And they have great feedback. So they're the ones who are writing the cards at the end of the day. Like, I wish this was like that. I wish that was like this, or I love this. I hated that. And so I try to engage them early and often so I get direct feedback, and then I can answer any questions they have as well. And I've also learned, bring coffee to the trade show manager. Like before the day, I always show up with coffee and donuts.
It's the little things.
Yeah, that's always a big win.
So let's talk about you.
Okay.
So we've gotten coffee a couple times and,
Yep.
had conversations back and forth. You've had a lot of different roles in the marketing space, and it's kind of moved throughout some different industries, and I think in some ways that are really interesting. Give me a quick timeline of some of the different marketing roles that you've had in the industry.
Sure. I graduated college. I worked at a talent agency. The talent agency was a voiceover agency in Chicago and then Los Angeles.
Okay.
And we auditioned actors and booked them for commercials. and animation and CD-ROMs at that time. It was a while ago.
Nice.
And so that was a fun job because when I worked in LA, I got to see all of my favorite stars that I grew up with who were no longer big-time actors anymore.
Yeah.
They ended up being voiceover and commercial actors.
Okay.
And they would come in and I would audition them and I'd be in a booth, a sound booth, and I'd be on one side. We had a reel-to-reel recorder. So I'd have to line up the reels and they would record it. And I mean, I met some really fascinating people. My highlight of that was seeing Dan Castellaneta, who's Homer Simpson. He came in and just had to go, "Don't!" And he had to do that for about a minute. They wanted all these takes. Don't. And it was for Butterfinger at the time. That's what he was doing.
Oh, so
and
funny.
I, of course, recorded that, and I have it still.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was like the neatest thing, right? It was Dan Castellaneta coming in and being Homer Simpson.
The fact that my first business was a recording studio, I know exactly what you're talking about. Obviously different context, but the idea of like, yep, this whole session, we just have to... I once was commissioned to to track a whistle solo for a kid's song.
Okay.
And they wanted me to do it. I was the artist as well. And so I was just listening to this song and trying to improvise a bunch of different whistle lines.
Yeah.
And it was just like, how did I get here? This is awesome. It was fun.
Yeah, it was neat. It was neat seeing him, and it was neat being part of that.
Yeah.
And again, no big deal for him, right? This is what he does all day long. But for
Right.
me, I'm like, oh, trying not to be so excited. I'm thinking, I can't wait to tell everybody.
What got you into that? Like, there's a reason that you got that job.
Oh, I wanted to be a talent agent.
Okay.
And then working with actors for 3 years, I didn't want to be a talent agent anymore.
Okay.
So, but I liked commercials.
Yeah.
That was my first introduction. I've seen every aspect of a commercial. I've done the auditioning. I've produced a commercial. I've been in a commercial. I've done the whole thing. And so that was my first introduction into that. But I wanted to amplify brands, but I didn't want to work with actors anymore.
Okay.
So from there, I went into product placement, and that's when we got into marketing and media. We did product placement, so instead of the actors being the stars, the products were the stars. So I'd go to set. I'd load up my Nissan Altima with a bunch of products that I represented. I'd go, this is in Los Angeles, and I'd go from studio to studio, and I'd go from set to set, and I'd deliver these products to the prop masters. I'd see the actors. I'd go during filming. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very, very fun. But the fun part was, being on the Friends set and seeing Joey pick up my cup, my AM PM cup, and drink from it, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
My juice box. We did Tetra Pak, the juice boxes.
Yeah.
And so I would always record the shows, and then we'd do a demo reel, and it was fun to look back to see all the people who was using a juice box within the shows and how they were using it.
That's
great.
cool.
Were you? So I think what you said is, did you get to be ever on set when they were filming?
Yeah.
Oh wow, how cool!
That was very cool.
What are some of the movies? I know you mentioned Friends. What are any of the other movies where you may have had a product placement or
Oh gosh, everything in the mid '90s. So I can't remember all the names of the TV shows anymore.
Was it mostly TV
Kelsey
shows?
Grammer, what was that show with Frasier?
Okay.
I did a lot with Frasier,
Really?
with Friends, all the Warner Brothers shows.
Yeah.
News Radio was a show that we delivered to a lot. And then we delivered to movies too. The movies we actually didn't deliver as much to. The prop master would come to us and pick it up. But I would go to movie sets occasionally. And then from there, I worked at NBC. And I actually kind of went on the other side. I was developed product placement for their syndicated television shows.
What does that look like? So is it like you have a roster list of potential partnerships that you could do with brands or something?
So what we did was we had a talk show called The Other Half. It was starring a guy named Dick Clark, who was a big deal at one point. Now nobody knows him.
Right.
Dick Clark rocking New Year's Eve. Ryan Seacrest is the announcer every year. Dick Clark, Mario Lopez, who's still on the TV every day from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Danny Bonaducci, who was on a show called The Partridge Family.
Right.
Okay.
And another guy, and they had a talk show that was the answer to The View. It was the male answer to The View.
Okay.
And so what we would do is we'd set up segments for advertisers. And twice a week, we'd have a segment at the end of the show that was just an infomercial. And I'd have Dick Clark and Mario Lopez sitting there, and they'd be asking just like this. And they'd be asking questions to the folks who were the guests. And instead of talking about themselves and whatever, they talk about, I had a product once called D-Snore. It helped people not snore. And so we had a couple on, and we had Dick Clark and Danny Bonaducci at that time.
Yeah.
And they were talking to this couple, and she said, he always keeps me up at night and I can't stand it. And she kicks me and all the typical stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then we found D-Snore. Dick Clark says, well, what did you do about it? And we said, well, we found D-Snore. And we promoted D-Snore. So we had a Hyundai challenge. We gave away a Hyundai on air. We had Lipton Tea Tuesday. So every Tuesday they drink from Lipton cups, and we'd give away a Lipton tea basket on air. So we did a whole bunch of things like that. It was beautiful. The show only lasted 2 years. Unfortunately, they canceled it after 2 years.
It sounds like you had a lot of fun.
Business. Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked on NBC set. My office was across the way, so I'd walk through. I'd see what car Jay Leno was driving that day. I'd eat at the commissary. It was awesome. It was great.
That's
great.
This is great.
Okay. I want to ask you some more questions about it. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back. All right. So jumping back in. So you're working at NBC, Jay Leno, all of the things.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
No, it was just a great experience because that melted everything together, right? So I got to work with the advertisers like at the talent agency, but they were the talent, right? I got to work in the showbiz, right? So I was there, and then I got to then just really do what I wanted to do at the talent agency, just without the actors. And no offense to actors, by the way. I love actors. Some of my best friends are actors. My aunt was an actress. I love actors. But tough crowd to really build a career around.
Yeah.
And for me, it was the best of both worlds. I could still be in showbiz, and I could amplify a brand and make them the star. And so that was awesome.
Yeah. How long were you at NBC?
I was at NBC almost 4 years.
Okay.
And then from there, I went into a company called Pick Media Group.
Okay.
That was part of a very, very large conglomerate called the Interpublic Group of companies that owned several ad agencies.
That sounds like the most boring name for a company.
Yeah, it was. It was called something else, and then they merged, and it was Pick TV, PIC-TV, and then Pick Media Group.
Okay.
I kind of, with my partner, we kind of renamed it to Pick Media Group, so it wasn't just TV.
Yeah.
But kept the Pick because everybody had known that name, and it stood for something, but nobody knew what. Nobody knew what.
Yeah.
It wasn't Picture.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what it was. It was an old company. And then, but we did a lot of the same thing. So we sold commercials inside TV shows, little 10-second commercials.
Yeah.
And then we did game show pricing and promotions as well.
Okay.
So you and I first met, I think, when you were there.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. I brought you in.
And I think you were doing some fascinating things. Tell folks a little bit about what you did at Pick Media, which was so kind of interesting or unique.
So at the time, commercials were only 15 seconds or 30 seconds because we didn't have an iPhone yet. I had a BlackBerry, but you couldn't watch anything on that.
Yeah.
And so people were very resistant to making their commercials 10 seconds long. They couldn't imagine it. So we actually had an editor on staff who would do it, and we'd show it to them, and they go, what? That wasn't 10 seconds long. So breaking through those barriers was number one. Like, how can I? And it seems so odd now, right? Because we're so used to seeing short ads and things on our phone that it's inconceivable that 10 seconds, of course you can get your message across in 10 seconds. But this was only 15 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And many people couldn't even figure that out. They couldn't imagine it.
Yeah. So when you made that transition from product placement into media, right?
It's similar because these commercials were in the show. So my spiel was the same. They were in-show ads. So you couldn't really TiVo through them. TiVo was big at the time. You couldn't just fast forward through them. They had to be part of the show.
Interesting.
They weren't part of the commercial pods. They were separate. So my spiel was the same as when I was in product placement. Because obviously, if somebody's holding up your branded cup, you can't fast forward through that or you'll miss the scene.
Yeah.
So those commercials were the same. And of course, game show pricing is great because it generates a lot of excitement for the show when somebody gives a trip or a cruise or something away like that, a car. Yeah, we've secured it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fascinating thinking about the level of creativity and intentionality that goes into that world.
Yep.
Right. Because on my side, as the movie fan or the creative guy, you know, I watch a show and I'm like, oh, this is clever way to sneak that in there.
Well, it's based on real life, right?
Yeah.
The art directors and prop masters really try to make sure that it doesn't look like it's a knockoff.
One of the best instances that I can recall of like really blatant product placement was in the show New Girl, if you know of it. Mm-hmm. There was a couple specific things where they were clearly trying to promote the Ford Fusion.
Right.
And they were blatant. Like there was a scene where Cece had to be the like showgirl at a presentation about the Ford Fusion. Like it was so blatantly clear what was happening. But something about the way they wrote several different jokes in a couple episodes really landed, and it was like, we know what they're doing exactly. But it was like the one friend had the Ford Fusion and was just like weirdly obsessed with it. And so it felt like a natural dialogue, even though you're like, okay, I know what you're doing. Like it was fascinating.
Well, then if you watch the first commercial out of that segment, it was probably a Ford Fusion commercial.
Probably.
Yeah. Just tie you in, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So you worked at Pick Media, did a lot of TV commercials.
Actually bought the company.
Bought the company?
We bought the company. My business partner and I bought the company.
Okay.
From Interpublic Group.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good price. It wasn't as amazing as it sounds, but yeah, it was a very good price they gave us.
That's awesome. Yep. And so, as I think about your career, you're evolving, right?
Yep.
All these different steps.
Yep.
And so, what did you learn in your experience owning Pick Media Group, and how did that kind of create a jumping off point for the next thing?
Yeah, that was a humbling experience because all of a sudden you are responsible for people. You're responsible, and when you work at a big corporation, that doesn't always. I mean, you're responsible-ish, right? But when you're an entrepreneur, you're the one signing the checks. You're the one paying the rent. You're the one who's responsible for everybody's well-being. And so making sure that happens weighs on you. And it also motivates you to really do a good job, right? To really make it happen, to really go out there. So I try to take that same energy now, even though I'm not an owner of my company. I just really like what I'm doing. I don't want to get canned, and I don't want the company to go out of business.
Yeah.
So I really, really, really try to take it to the next level so that I act like I'm an owner, even though I'm not.
Yeah.
So I have that perspective of that, being an owner, which I think makes my work stand out a little bit.
Yeah.
It brings a little more pizzazz to what I do.
So I hear all the different places that you've worked and kind of gone through in your career, and it feels like you've been on a journey.
Yep.
Right? Where are you in that journey now? Not logistically, like where are you working?
Yeah,
but
that's
like,
a really good question. I don't know. I'm not at the end, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I just turned 55 last week.
Yeah.
And I remember when my dad turned 55, it was a really big event. They threw a big party. Like, it was a big time event. For me, it was just another day. I went to work. I got 3 leads. I closed the deal at the end of the day.
Nice.
That's a good day.
It was a great day.
Yeah.
I had an awesome day.
Yeah.
I spent
That's
time
a
with my
true
family.
grown-up birthday right there.
Right?
Yeah.
Actually, I had 3 leads come in. I had a great sales call. And at the end of the day, I thought to myself, gosh, if I would have just closed the deal, it would have made this day just perfect. The next morning, I wake up. I really didn't check my phone because I was with my family at night.
Yeah.
And so I looked at my phone, and at 8:30 at night, one of my clients said, "Here's your signed paperwork. We're ready to go."
Nice.
So I
That's
did
cool.
close the deal. I didn't even know it. It felt so satisfying.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because I follow people online who are, way more advanced in their career. They're presidents, vice presidents, chairmen, and millionaires and billionaires. And I just appreciate them and I appreciate what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I go, wow, they're like 3 years younger than me. And you can get in that trap where you go, what didn't I do? But I'm like, screw that. Right? I'm really happy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like when I make a cold call, I made a cold call the other day and a lady answered and we had a great conversation and now we have a follow-up call next week. To me, it was like, well, that is the cherry on top of the sundae right there.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That wasn't $1 billion deal, right? But that felt like it. It felt like I really accomplished something. And to me, that's gold.
Yeah.
So we, as you talk about all the things you've done, all the sales that you've done, when you go out there and prospect,
Yep.
there's a certain level, every single salesperson is just a little bit vulnerable when they go out there and they begin prospecting, making phone calls. Talk a little bit about that mindset. Maybe when you were just getting started doing that, but then now, how do you find that personal resolve and that clarity to go out there and do prospecting?
So I've tricked myself because trade show prospecting is different than prospecting, I think, for anything else. So I'm not trying to sell them like life insurance while they're eating dinner, right? I go and I look at a trade show floor and I see they have a big booth and I know they're going to need somebody to build it and design it. So I'm already ahead of the curve, right? I just need to find the right person. And to me, it's very simple. Like, hey, you're going to this show. Do you have a partner? Do you have a reliable partner who can design and build a really great booth for you? And it's pretty much a yes or no answer. Yeah, I've been working with this company for a long time. I love them. Okay. I mean, they're always perfect, right? I can do all the reverses and all that stuff. But, usually it's like, I just like them, but I might bid it out. I might, whatever it is. We go through that spiel. Or it's, gosh, yeah, we're just thinking about the design and everything. Great timing. Tell me more about you. Send me information. Let's set up a next call. Always the next step, right? Yeah. And it's not hard because they're going to the show. They have a booth space. They need some sort of help.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how I've tricked myself. So I'm not I don't love cold calling, but now I don't hate it. Right. And so and it doesn't make me nervous. It actually excites me a little bit. So every time I dial the phone, and I do this, I try to do it 3 or 4 times a week because I'm the director of sales. I've got management. I've got other roles too. But I really believe prospecting is key to getting it's a really easy way to get your brand out there, right? And so I make sure that I'm intentional and I do it. And to me, it's exciting. It's exciting to meet new people. I educate myself, even if I don't pick up a client. I go to that show and I can see their booth, and then next time I see them or I talk to them or I call them, I can have a point of reference for that. And to me, it's not just for picking up clients. It's for educating myself on the show, the types of clients that are there, and then, of course, hopefully closing 1 or 2 of the deals so that we can have a presence there.
Yeah. In your journey,
Yep.
have you ever gotten imposter syndrome?
Oh, every day.
It seems like
right
you
now,
would.
right this second.
How have you worked?
24/7. You just go through it.
That's my secret. I'm always anxious.
You just go through it. Yeah, I think as you get older, you just realize that life happens and time passes quickly, and you just move on. You just go from one moment to the next, and if you're present, then the imposter syndrome kind of takes a back seat. Yeah. But sure, I get intimidated with things and all that, and all the time. Yeah, but I think you just start to lean on your experience. You can do stuff, right? Yeah. You can succeed at things, and so that sort of, kind of pushes that other stuff, that imposter stuff back. Yeah, and I'm not going to say it goes away, but it pushes it back, and then your knowledge and experience kind of takes a front seat.
Yeah.
You said some very interesting things there, and and what I do in sales training and coaching, it comes up all the time, right? Imposter syndrome.
Yep.
But sometimes the antidote to that is your self-awareness and your appreciation for what you've done. When you want to inoculate yourself against those feelings, what do you think about? What do you become present to?
Oh, I just say, Hansfield, get over it. Come on. Just do it. Just get over it. What's the big deal, right? So I think it happens with age. I think you just start to inoculate yourself to certain situations because you've been through them before and you didn't die. Nobody stuck a gun to your head. It happened, and whether you came out like a rose or like something else, it's over and you live through it.
Yeah.
Right?
I love the fact that you lean into your experience, and your experience informs you it's going to be okay.
Yeah, every time.
And it's going to work.
Like when have you worried obsessively about something and only to find out that it was no big deal?
Yeah.
How many times does that happen? Does that happen to you?
Oh
yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, why did I waste my time worrying about this situation when it all was fine, or it wasn't fine, but then it was after a short amount of time that went by like that.
Yeah.
And that's it. To me, that's it. So, like, if I cold call somebody and they hang up on me, or they whatever, or rude or whatever, I could care less. It is what it is. I'll just move on to the next. And I won't. When I was younger, I think that would be like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I have to stop. I have to take a break, coffee, and think about my life and journal and whatever. I don't know, everything.
Yeah.
Now I just move on from one thing to another, or something bad happens at work. If I make a mistake at work, I'm human. If I've forgotten a detail in something, I'll just go back and go, hey, sorry to be so annoying, but I forgot this detail. I wanted to let you know that.
Yeah.
And if that person gets off my email or gets on the phone and says, yeah, Hansfield really sucks, he's annoying, and he forgets details, I don't really care.
Right. Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's fine by me. It's like, okay, I know me, I'll try better next time, and I'll watch that stuff. But yeah, so that's just with age and experience.
It washes off.
It washes off. That's a great way to put it. It washes off.
So
Yep.
You have been through a lot of different, careers. Well, a similar career
Pretty
journey,
much the
but
same.
a lot
Just
of
helping
different.
marketing folks and brands
Yeah,
amplify themselves.
yeah. Like there's a common thread, but it's taken a lot of different kind of spaces. I'm thinking about there's kind of two different schools of thought where should you stay at one company, one exact industry, one and lean into all of that, or should you move around and like you did try to I worked in this space and then I pivoted a little bit to this application point and this application point. I feel like that idea can tend to get a bad rap if you're on the front end of your career, right? It's like you need to figure out what you need to do.
My honest opinion?
Yeah.
I wish we didn't merge Pick Media Group into another company. I wish we would have kept that.
Right.
I wanted to not do. Looking back at that, I wish we would have kept it and kind of morphed it into. It would be different now because that whole industry is different.
Yeah.
But I think we could have evolved it into different sectors.
Yeah.
And kept it going. And I wish we would have done that.
Yeah.
That's my honest answer. And not to take away anything that I'm doing now or in the past. Those have all been great. But that was a great opportunity to really have a great career and have longevity. And we got kind of tripped up by the recession in 2008. Mm-hmm. And so we made some decisions about that I wish now looking back we would have not done. Mm. So yeah, I guess that's a semi-regret.
Yeah. Do you think that having all of these different experiences has, on the whole, become a blessing for you? And if so, how so?
Yeah, because I'm able to navigate situations without it affecting me on a deep personal level for the most part. I mean, I'm human. I'm not saying I'm a Spock.
Yeah.
Right. But it just is different. Like John said, it just washes off pretty easily.
Yeah.
And so I'm able to really be present with a situation and lean on my experience to understand how to navigate it. And so to me, that's gold. And that's happened because of all my past experiences, all those businesses that I worked at before, all those relationships I've had, and all the stuff that's happened in there, stuff I don't even remember. That's just in my mind. That's just part of me now.
Yeah.
Right. And so
you are not only a great sales professional, and you are, but you've also been a sales leader.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about how all of your experiences in selling and leading people, how did that influence you in your role as a sales leader?
Well, as a sales leader, and again, I'm going to talk pretty candidly here.
Yeah.
I think what's helpful is that I'm a father of 4 kids. And I think once you become not that if you're not a parent, that's great too. But when you become a parent, the level of, it's like having employees almost.
Yeah.
Who are really the boss of you. But that's another podcast. But it's the same thing. Like they're looking to you for direction. So in my young management career, when I was a young dad, right, I would be like, I don't know, what do you want to do? Like I wouldn't manage people. I would try to get them to like think about, okay, how do you want to handle that situation? Like I thought I wanted to give people flexibility, and I do want to give people flexibility. But what I didn't realize was that people are looking to you for direction. And when you're wishy-washy about something, they get very nervous, and that's when bad stuff starts to happen.
Yeah.
So you can give people flexibility, and you can give them their thoughts and feelings, and that's all very important. It's not good to micromanage. It's not good to be a dictator.
Yeah.
People have to be allowed to do their job and make mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? Too many mistakes, that's not good. But a mistake here or there where they learn from that, that's fine.
Yeah.
And they have to have that space to do it. But you also have to be able to step up and give direction. And to me, that's very much like parenting as well. Give your kids space to learn and grow and make mistakes and succeed, but also be sure that you're giving direction and that they know that they can look to you for that.
It's like, this isn't a dictatorship, but you're the leader for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I can envision a book in the future, The Parenting Guide to Sales Leadership, or The Sales Leader's Guide to Parenting.
Well, sales is so fluid too, because everybody's, what works for me may not work for somebody else. So I don't want to kibosh if it's working for them. If it's not working for them, then we have a conversation. But if something's working for them and it's not worked for me in the past, it's not something I would do, I'm not going to tell them not to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, keep doing that, please. I'm going to teach me how to do that.
Yeah.
Like, what have I been missing? Right. So it's a really collaborative effort, and it's really fluid because the way we sell changes, right? I do like cold calling, but yeah, you do get a lot of voicemails or people not answering or knowing it's spam or whatever. So I still think it's an effective way, but you have to have a myriad of different things. You have to have a great website and good videos and do podcasting and get yourself out there.
Yeah.
It's not, look at this opportunity. When I started at The Other Half, that talk show that we did the product placement on,
Yeah.
the only way you could be in front of a camera or on TV is if you were on TV.
Right.
Right? The only way you could be in front of millions of people is being on TV or in a movie.
Yeah.
Right? Now we're here. You have a professional setup. We're in Volo, Illinois, and this is going to be broadcast to the whole wide world.
Yeah.
Right? It's pretty amazing. And so, but because of that, we have to rethink how we do things, and selling is part of that. So now we're the brand too.
Yeah.
Right? So now it's not just me. I'm representing structure, but I'm also Dave Hansfield. And so I've been told, people buy from people they like and trust and they have a good relationship with.
Yeah.
A smart man told me that once. And I took it. I took that to heart.
Yeah.
And so I believe that fully. And so that's what I try to do. But in doing that, you have to also do that to somebody you've never met before.
Yeah.
So if somebody sees me and digs something I've said, right, that's already the start of that relationship. So if they reach out to me, or if I can send out a clip or something like that and they can see me, and even if it's somebody who I've been cold calling, maybe that's the start. Maybe that's the spark of the relationship that we're going to start to build.
Yeah.
That gets it.
I think you've touched on a really important point. We talk a lot about trust building as elemental in sales. Has how you build trust when you're seeking new customers changed from 20 years ago to today? And what do you do when you've got to build trust quickly? What do you think about?
I think transparency is really an overused word, but it's extremely accurate. I think that when I started my sales career, it's not like you want to lie to people, but I don't think you don't necessarily, you're always thinking about yourself and how you position yourself and how you're not going to get in trouble. How you're going to sell something and you're going to be able to sell it into management so they sell it into the client and the client's going to be happy. And that's a really delicate dance. And in that dance, when you're inexperienced, you don't really know how to navigate each one. So you're basically covering your butt every time, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even if you have good intentions, even if your product is great, you're not a liar. I'm not calling people out on this, but it's just life, right? And then as you get older, like going back to that, it's like, hey, we have a markup on this. We're a business. That's what the markup is. I'll try to lower it, but that's how we survive. Yeah. I can't help some of these markups, right? Or, this happened and it was a bad situation. The truck was late, but there was a NASCAR race in the middle of Las Vegas and that held everything up. And I can't help that. Like, we're going to have to charge you for that. I'll try to work with you on that, but I can't, there's nothing I can do about it. Yeah. Whereas early in my career, I think I'd be like, oh my gosh, I would be panicky because I would feel like I would have to make some different excuse up for some situation. And it's just like, let's be transparent. Let's just say what it is. Yeah. And hopefully they'll be transparent with me because that's a great partnership, right? And that's what I want. I don't want a customer. I want a partner. And again, that's an overused phrase as well, but it's the God honest truth. Yeah. Like my best customers are partners and they tell me what they need and I tell them what I need. And we work really well together in that way. Yeah. So
we're winding down, but
this was really fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Seriously. As a final question, what brings you joy lately?
I mean, everything. Just being on this earth, just waking up in the morning, just making myself a great cup of coffee in the morning. Just, seeing my kid the other night was in the talent show and they did a jazz number and he was playing piano. Huge amounts of joy. My other son is graduating from college and just seeing him succeed has been great. I have a 26-year-old who's a real person, like in the real world, having great conversations with him about life and work and like things he's going through. Amazing. I wouldn't trade that. And then I have a daughter who's went to college in San Diego, and it's her first year, and she's absolutely killing it. It's just amazing, and just being in awe of those things that we may take for granted. Really having an appreciation of that and being here and being alive at this moment. That's what I dig. So that's the smallest thing. So when I get somebody to talk to me on a cold call for 15 minutes, I'm jazzed because that's like, wow. You could have handed me a check for $1 million, right? I haven't done anything. I haven't closed a deal. I've done nothing. I've just had a great conversation. I got through to somebody and we connected. Yeah. It's like, hallelujah. That's awesome. And so that sort of thing just drives me and keeps me going and enthusiastic.
I love that.
Yeah.
Final words, make it quick.
Thank you, David. You and I have known each other a long time. You were an amazing guest. I appreciate everything you brought.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.
This was fun. Thank you.